My whole life I have endured anxiety and depression since I was a child. My earliest memories are unhappy and wanting to grow up, and then growing up and it not being better, and it just going through so many phases of life where it just continued to be miserable drudgery existing on planet Earth. And finally, this ayahuasca journey fell into place, and I was optimistic. But then as we began the ceremonies, you know, the first night, which is a diagnostic night, I really didn't experience much. The second night, I experienced way too much, like beyond a therapeutic dose. It was really, you know, just kind of a white knuckle, like get through it experience. The third night, I had a gentle but profound experience. I hadn't been able to open up to the maestros in the one-on-one that we had after the diagnostic night. I wasn't able to share anything about why I was there or what was going on with me. And then after some art therapy, where Sylvia, you know, taught us to do some embroidery, I was able to open up a little bit to her, and she gave me some tea that I think allowed me to have the experience, the positive experience that I did have, which was really gentle and was really healing, and allowed me to experience some grief that I have been unable to feel. My intention with coming down here was just to remember what pain I've been numbing and disassociating from my entire life. Not even to heal it, just to know what it is, why I was so miserable and unhappy and in so much pain. So I was able to feel this grief, and I was able to have a revelation about how my intellect, because I was unable to trust anything as a child and consequently the rest of my life, that my hyperactive intellect was causing my anxiety, and I was able to relax that. And that might have been enough, but we had 2 more ceremonies. And the 4th ceremony, I really didn't experience anything with the medicine, and I was frustrated. I was really frustrated, and, you know, I was frustrated after the first ceremony and the second ceremony. I was frustrated after the 4th ceremony, and I really felt like the ayahuasca doesn't care about me, and nobody cares about me. And maybe it works for other people, but for whatever reason, it doesn't work for me. And that made me feel really sad and really hopeless. And finally, on the final night, the 5th night, I had a really hard time, and I felt so desperate and abandoned. And I was, after everybody had gone through their experiences and were unwinding peacefully, I was crying really quietly, trying not to make any sound, which goes into why never being able to ask for help. I thought I had to be as quiet as possible and as unobtrusive as possible. But my body betrayed me, and I guess I whimpered loudly enough for David to notice, and he insisted on offering the help that I couldn't ask for. And Sylvia came and did some body work on me, like pressed on my guts, and I felt the ayahuasca die inside of me because it had nothing to grab onto, because I was basically dead. I was like a dried up, shriveled thing, and I realized that I have been living my life in a kind of hellish purgatory where I thought I was just stuck here waiting for my body to die. And then she starts singing to me. She starts singing the Icaro to me, and I can feel it waking up. I feel the ayahuasca like waking up and responding to her. And I was like, God, why is she waking it up? Please, I don't want any more of this. I just want to go to sleep. But she sings to it, and I feel it waking up and responding to her. And I don't know how long it took, but I was eventually able to purge finally. And I don't know, I don't understand the experience. I don't know what it was. I don't know what I barfed up or why it works. All I can say is that it's magic. And after that, for me, because of my personal mythology, like coming from New Orleans, and my father's parents were carnies, I had this, the way it translated in my experience was I felt like a carnival like inflate all around me, and suddenly I was reconnected to the magic that's in the world, and it saved my life. I'm alive, and I feel like I have no idea what is in store for me in my future, but I mean, I had lost hope, and I didn't believe, and I had an incredible experience. And even more incredible that I could have the experience and not understand it, because I have been hyper dependent on my intellect and reason to get me through this life.
That's amazing and beautifully said. What do you think will be different now as you go back home and as you go forward, now that you feel alive again?
Well, when I go home, I know I'll be different. I feel like, this sounds corny, but I feel like I was sort of reborn. And one of the reasons why it was so hard, why my life has been so hard, is that I am a giant elephant, and it's really hard for like an elephant to get born into a human world. This is the way it translated for me. And so I'm picturing myself as just this little baby elephant, and like I have to learn, I know that I have to go and learn how to take care of myself now. And so I feel like I can just be patient with that and take the momentum of the energy of this experience and reinvest it back into myself, into building a healthier life for me.
Last thing I'll ask you, what would you say to other people who are hurting inside, or who feel dead inside, or feel like it's too late for them? These kinds of feelings that maybe you had before.
For anyone who relates to the experience that I had of hopelessness, depression, anxiety, I would say that if the ayahuasca like calls to you at all, if you're at all curious or feel any compulsion towards it, that you should go for it. I do think that I can't speak, this is the only experience I've ever had with ayahuasca is with these maestros here in this location where the plants grow, where, you know, in their home, like on this land. So I can't speak to other types of ayahuasca experiences. For me, I think it was really important to have the maestros and have that assistance, because I don't think that I would have been able to connect to the ayahuasca without them being there and being able to kind of blow on that tiny spark and start that fire within me.